Over the years, whenever my meditation has aligned with Kent teaching, I've looked at the talk title and felt that it was time to do some research. In this case, my search for imaginal consciousness for dummies came up short. Maybe that's your next book, Kent. So I had to connect my own dots, which is the spirit of these meditations anyway, right? And in my search for wisdom, I came across the words of contemplative and mystic Cynthia Bourgeois. She wrote, "The imaginal nudges us, beacons us, corrects us as we stray from our authentic unfolding, rewards us with dazzling glimpses and reassurances of that other intensity to which we truly belong, and in whose light the meaning of our earthly journey will ultimately be revealed, like the treasure buried in the field." While they share similar roots, imaginal, imagination, and imaginary have different meanings. That which is imaginary isn't real. The imaginal is more than real, and our imagination can help us to get in touch with the imaginal. When we loosen our grasp on reality, we can imagine the thin spaces where our elders and teachers and ancestors break through our stubborn grip on the material world and give us that dazzling glimpse into the convergence of past, present, and future. As I shared when I was hosting last week with Michael DeWild's teaching, I sense that we are all part of a continuum, a relay race that started at the Big Bang, during which we are each passing the baton to the next person. When we take the baton, it's like Jung's stone tablets mentioned in today's reading. That baton is etched with the experiences and questions of our ancestors, and by accepting it, we take on the responsibility of living and questioning ourselves into higher states of consciousness. And then we pass the baton to the next person. And just as our ancestors' essence and questions came to us, so our essence and questions are transmitted into the future. I've only had a few, very few brief months in my life, about 20 years ago, when I felt the desire to have a child. And that desire was partly driven by an understanding that that's how we live forever. The child is the baton that creates another baton, and so on. But alas, that desire passed almost as suddenly as it appeared and never returned. But my understanding evolved into realizing that there are multiple ways that we live forever, or at least ways in which something of our soul gets passed on. Sharing these thoughts with you today is one of those ways. Offering a smile, providing comfort, taking care of your partner when they're sick, trying to give more than you take. These are all ways in which tiny pieces of our ego dissolve and reform into gifts we give to others with no expectation of return. Maybe in those cases, we're making an offering to the imaginal realm, that expanse of space that, as Bourgeois states, corrects us as we stray from our authentic unfolding. You can imagine that what Bourgeois calls that other intensity is God, the universe, the great mystery, the ground of all being. Whatever it is, it calls on us to not only imagine, but to manifest a generous, limitless future. It's not concerned with our comfort or feeding our ego. It only wants to shine the light on the treasures each of us holds. And it wants, with the best efforts that we can muster, to pass on that light to others.